Get in there, boys. Come on. Brilliant performance from AFC Wimbledon. Woo! I mean, it was all Wimbledon. Crawley Town had absolutely nothing all game. And, okay, I don't want to take this time to shit on Crawley. It's just people were expecting Crawley to get promoted because obviously they have American ownership. They also signed 25-goal Dom Telford from Newport County last season, but he came off the bench instead. Instead, they played a three up top with Nadazen and Balagizi on the wide areas, and then Nichols as the striker. They actually interchanged Nichols and Nadazen eventually, I think. But it just didn't work out for them. I mean, they didn't really create chances. Our shape was pretty good, AFC Wimbledon, and we didn't allow Crawley to get too many opportunities. And Crawley were just so poor on the ball, too, in that first half. The second half, they took care of it a little bit better when they were in possession, of course. They had a lot less of the possession since they went down 10 men. And I'll get into that. I don't know why the commentators said that the red card was, or the double yellow was controversial. I was listening to the Crawley Town commentary after all. I'll get into the double yellow card and why I think it wasn't controversial. But that being said, fantastic performance all around from AFC Wimbledon. Very good bounce back from that last game. I'm going to start off closer to the beginning. First 5 minutes or so already, we put on the pressure, and Crawley Town gave it away a couple of times. Powell had two giveaways in the first 3 minutes of the game, with Curry coming away with one of them, coming from that left back position and kind of cutting off a pass toward the middle. And unfortunately, they weren't able to capitalize on that, as Curry cut it back. I think he intercepted and then he cut it back and allowed Crawley to come back. The second giveaway around the 3rd minute or so, NYC actually came away with an interception from a Powell pass. And unfortunately, he tried to play it and he gave it away, and then it led to a counter for Crawley, but Crawley didn't capitalize. And then they just kept giving the ball away, Crawley. They were trying to pass it around a couple of times. From what I remember, Ado Bawali, one of their center backs, gave it away a couple of times. And we weren't able to really be too incisive in the first 15-20 minutes when we were on the attack. But we kept putting on the pressure. We kept knocking around. We played very well out of the back, by the way. On the occasional moments that Crawley tried to press, we played around the back very well. Nick Zanev had good feet, which is a concern that we've had throughout his tenure in AFC Wimbledon. Not the best keeper on the feet, but he played a couple good passes, cleared the ball away when he needed to. Nightingale played a couple of good passes and got out of pressure, dribbled out of pressure when he needed to. And, yeah, I mean, we played well overall. That first goal from NYC was a solid finish. I mean, it came from a giveaway. The giveaway, I think, was from Amole, as he was caught too slow in possession. The ball was with Amole, played it to Craig. Oh, yeah, it was just a poor turn there from Agungbo. Agungbo just turned into pressure, not realizing Gunter put the pressure on there from behind. George Marsh played it to Davison. Davison one-time threw ball over to NYC, and NYC just blasted it roof of the net. Good one-touch football played there by AFC Wimbledon. They had a couple of those moments throughout the game where they were playing good, dink, 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 passing it around a little bit. But good finish there from NYC, and then a couple minutes later, Josh Davison having an opportunity of his own after Ethan Chisholm cuts off a pass. Chisholm was class, by the way. Had a couple of moments where he intercepted passes and drove it into the final third, was dribbling into the final third. There were a couple of times where he could have done better in terms of chance creation, like maybe could have taken someone on 1v1, but instead played it back to the center mid. But I think Chisholm, when he did have that space, he took that space on and was able to lay it off to somebody if a defender was coming in to try to press. Good finish from NYC, and unfortunately Davison a few minutes later wasn't able to finish his opportunity. He tried to hit it far post. Maybe could have looked up to see where the keeper was first. The keeper was a couple of yards away from his near post. Maybe could have bent it into that near post. If he saw that, tried to hit it far post, and keeper saved it. Wasn't all the way in the corner either. It was like kind of close to the center. But Davison had an okay game overall. Laid it off a couple of times. And I thought, won a couple of headers, was decent. And then, that second half, more of the same from Wimbledon. Taking care of possession, taking care of the ball. Crawley Town giving it away a couple more times. And then eventually they get in trouble. It was a through ball played into NYC. And NYC gets brought down. Rightfully so. I think it was a yellow card. I mean, NYC, not sure if he would have gone on the end of that pass because Chislett, his pass was played a little heavy and a little bit away from the center line. Played a little bit away from goal. But I think NYC would have gotten there anyway. It would have been close, but I think he would have gotten there. But you never know. You have to, as a referee, you have to err on the side of safety, and you have to give a yellow card there because he was through on goal, ideally. And Craig receiving a double yellow card there, the second yellow in that instance. Commentary said it was controversial. I'm not really sure what was controversial about it because Craig actually took a look. He was looking at NYC, never looking at the ball, knew what he was doing, tripped him up, stopped the counterattack, and from there it was just all Wimbledon. Crawley had one or two maybe instances where they put crosses in the box, but the likes of Pierce and Nightingale were up for the task, and I think Pierce did a good job winning the headers for the most part anytime those crosses did come in. Going down the list, Zanev with an 8. He had a pretty decent save from a free kick about 19, 20 yards out from the right-hand side. That free kick was taken by the substitute Tilly and reacted well, got to his left-hand side and beat it away for a corner. And I think Zanev was good on his feet, didn't really have too many opportunities to make any saves. So 8 out of 10 for me. Brown, I think, was an 8, defended well. Pierce was 8.5. Nightingale was a 8.5. I think he played out of the back pretty well. Curry was an 8.5. I think he was dangerous going forward in terms of off the ball movement. I think a couple of times he wasn't incisive enough though. He cut it back a couple of times, allowing Crawley to get numbers back. But other than that, did okay. Chisel was a 9. Magoma was an 8. Marsh was a 7.5. Gunter was a 7.5. Davison was a 6.5. And I think Young Coombs was an 8. All around solid performance. And the substitutes, I think Asal didn't have too much of an impact on the game, but he did come forward a couple of times. Not too confident in the 1v1 opportunities. I think he was caught on the ball a little bit too much whenever he was trying to get into the 18-yard box. Maybe not too confident with his 1v1 ability. So I'd say maybe a 7. 6.5 to 7. And Alfie Bendel was a 7.5 to an 8. I think he did well getting out of pressure and played a couple good passes here and there. All around solid performance from AFC Wimbledon. They weren't troubled at all. They were not troubled at all by Crawley. They just didn't really have anything to show for it. And one of their players that I was kind of worried about, Balagizi, I thought he was going to be, dangerous. He's usually quick on the ball, can do a couple skills here and there, and he's got good quality on the ball too. Like can play a good pass. Wasn't really a threat today, Balagizi. I think he never really took us on 1v1, and we just had good shape all around. Nichols wasn't really a threat. Nadazen every now and again would get out wide, but wasn't a threat. All around, we just kept him at bay. And it was a very good performance all around from the Dons. Thank you guys for hopping on stream. See you guys on the flip side.